Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we're just yakking a little bit, just to talk, mainly because I have nothing really I have planned or worked on, so I just need a quick video. So it is what it is. I really need to make a backlog of videos so I can post more readily. I just don't have the focus, the attention to do such things anymore. But oh my back. Yeah, there's a lot to kind of go over. The Democrats officially passed articles of impeachment. Now they're being held from going to the Senate until the Senate promises a much more fair trial. Because you've got to remember, impeachment only means being sent or being recognized as have committed a crime. Um, these are the accusations, and so it then has to go to the Senate to make the decision. But it's being held up because, and it's quite the intelligent move on Pelosi's part. I have to give her credit until they show a more equitable, a more reasonable, um, nonpartisan trial in the Senate. Because she knows if it's just given straight up, the Republicans who have the majority are going to all team together and say, no, we don't agree. So I have to give her credit for recognizing, hey, you just can't send it to the Senate and expect it to work. And so she's trying to help push things so that there will actually be a nonpartisan trial. Because we know as it sits now, Republicans don't care what he's done. I'm surprised they were actually a little pushback for his joking about John Dingle going to hell. You know, looking down on us all. Maybe he's looking up. You know, insinuating that the man had went to hell. I'm surprised there was even pushback on that, because Republicans have been such monsters. So, oh my God, they actually, you know, say, no, that's unacceptable. Well, they didn't go, it's unacceptable. I think most of them were like, yeah, that was wrong. He stepped in it. But there was actually a little pushback. Even the editor of Christianity Today has said, yes, he must be impeached because his behavior has become essentially untenable. Um, so yeah. And if you have more and more Christians that push back on him, yeah, he's already shrunk in support in the Rust Belt, where he like won by the slimmest of margins, and he might not win those states this time. You know, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And if there's certain Christians that push back on him, yeah, he'll he'll be in deep trouble. Honestly, m- most of his support is by these people who really don't care. You know, they don't care what he's done because it's remained that same 35% that's been like, don't care. He's murdered someone, don't care. He's raped people, don't care. He's responsible for genocide, don't care. I ain't saying he's done those things, but I'm just using them for example. Well, except genocide. He's had a hand in that, selling weapons to Saudi Arabia to be used on Yemen. But yeah, they've essentially become this group that's don't care. Yeah, whatever. Only Trump's the only one that matters. And it's like, really, guys? do you not do your full research? I'm not talking just looking at Fox News. I ain't saying you have to go look at CNN or MSNBC, but do your due diligence. You know, really examine these subjects. Study the history and the veracity of the sources. Honestly, you can't judge every source the same or only use the same sources unless you know they're trustworthy. And honestly, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Breitbart, the networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, The Blaze, none of that's trustworthy. Well, the whole little rooms here vibrating because of a vehicle going down the road. But yeah, you need to find sources that you can trust. C-SPAN. If you really want to talk about what's going on politically, if you really want to examine it, C-SPAN. No tilt left or right, just unfiltered news. Pure unfiltered news. That's and it's really up to you to make your decision. But not just C-SPAN. I personally use other sources I trust. Um, Kyle Kalinske. He on Secular Talk. He's pretty good. Um, the Rational National, David Doe. I mean, it's he's Canadian, so it's a view of American politics from someone who's not American. You and I think most people don't realize how far to the right our country is. Republicans are far right, and Democrats are centrist right now. And they think Bernie's so outrageous, but he's just, where the Democrats used to be on the left. He's not far left, he's just reasonable. You used to have the center, a bit left of center was Democrats, a bit right of center was Republicans. So you used to have center and then Republicans, Democrats, but it went like this. So Republicans are way out here and Democrats are in the center, while Bernie's over here where Democrats used to be. But people are like, he's so far left. No, he's not. He's just trying to bring us back in line with the rest of the world. I'm sorry for covering up the screen there. Just trying to scratch a little spot off the screen. But yeah. Because honestly, the right of a citizen to have health care without going bankrupt should be a right to every citizen. You know, those living on the streets, the poor, they are still people. They shouldn't have to die just because they don't have the money. It's ridiculous. And people go, well, you should go out and earn your money. The rich have basically have rigged the game. They make it more difficult for the average citizen to earn money. And we know automation is a thing. Many companies are wanting to go automated. So it saves them money. Of course, here's where the idiocy in that is. How's that going to work when there's no longer people being paid? Because if they're not being paid, they have no money to shop for your services, for your businesses. And so all of a sudden, the automation's just a cost and you've got no way to recoup the cost of that automation. You know, you can only go so far before you realize, why is this not saving us money? Because you're getting rid of workers. They no longer have the money to spend. It's not the rich who make economic make the economy run. They're just a cog in it. What's important is the average American. If they spend their money, then that goes into the economy to keep it rolling. And some people just don't see that. If they're no longer earning money, they can't spend that money. And if the rich are just hoarding it, what good is it doing? So, honestly, getting richer and richer and keeping your money does nothing. You want to put that money back into the economy, because if it keeps going into the economy, it helps people. It's common sense capitalism. Unfortunately, we have predatory capitalism where it's like, I want as much money as I can get. I want to make more money. And they don't realize that doing that, you eventually hit a wall where you can't spend your money. You can't make more money because you hit a point where the populace don't have money to spend. And these billionaires and millionaires don't seem to realize this. It's like I tell people, there's socialism and capitalism are not as direct of opponents as you think, because you work with them together. It makes sense. Regulations make sense. Unregulated capitalism is predatory capitalism. And like I said, it hits a wall. But if you have regulations on it where you have to follow certain rules, you keep a lot of things in better shape. Your environment, your workers, and the shape of the economy. Because honestly, we've hit a point where they don't care about the monopolies and trusts anymore, it don't seem like. Because since the 50s, the amount of companies that are in businesses have went, think about it. You used to have so many companies in certain industries. An example, Disney needs to be broken up. It's a behemoth. It controls ABC. It controls the Fox network, Fox movies, Fox, I think Fox Sports. It controls, of course, Disney Channel. It controls ESPN. Yeah, Marvel, Star Wars. What other franchises does it control? There's others I'm trying to think of. There was another one, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But essentially, it's got its fingers in all these pies. It controls the Fox television network and the ABC television network. It don't own Fox News because uh, Fox News and I think a few other small channels are still kept by the parent company that originally owned all of Fox. But yeah, Fox Television Network, ABC Television Network, Disney. You've got franchises like Marvel, Star Wars. What was the other one? There was another big franchise that it owned. It's ridiculous. No one should really be that big. It owns, ESPN. I'm not sure if it owns Fox Sports or not. I think it does. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It needs to be broken down. But it's not just. And then there's Disney Plus, its streaming network. The Disney movies. That's not even counting Star Wars and Marvel and all that. But yeah, it should be broken down. It shouldn't be that large. Amazon. Amazon's doing about the same now. It's putting its fingers in all these pies. There's Amazon Fire. There's the website Amazon, which sells almost everything. It started off by just selling books, but there's Amazon Fire. There's Alexa. There's what was it? The it's not just got Fire. It's got other things. I can't remember all of them, but it started out just being a website to sell books, purely books, nothing else. Not like it is now. I remember the commercials selling books. But yeah, now it sells everything, and they also own Whole Foods now because they want to be able to sell groceries. It's ridiculous. And Bezos, who owns it, is now the richest man in the world. But these politicians don't seem to care. They need to get back to breaking up monopolies, breaking up trusts. Sinclair, it owns, I think it's around 65-70% of the local television markets. That's ridiculously high. Ridiculous. The number is probably a little different, but it owns the majority of local television markets in this nation. Let me open up the browser to kind of give you a better number. I'm probably off a bit on that, so. If my browser will open up, it's taking its time. But yeah, we need to get back to the age of small companies having a chance. You know, cut break taxes and stuff. It's not the big companies who need the help.
The small businesses, the individual business. Much of the local vision market does Sinclair own? They own or operate 193 television stations across the United States in 89 markets. Okay. So yeah, I mean they own markets. They operate in markets as big as DC and as small as, you know, the small town markets like Ottawa, Iowa, or Kirksville, Missouri. Yeah. And what makes them even worse, they use the local television stations to peddle their political ideology, not to report news in a fair and honest manner. Of course, most news is hardly fair and honest anymore, but they use their political they peddle their political ideology with it. They don't have a percentage that I can read, but multiple stations. Hmm. Yeah. They around here they purchased not long ago um, the television station WCYB, which is based in Bristol. I think it's on the Tennessee side. Because the town of Bristol itself sits right on the Tennessee-Virginia border, but they have so many. Yeah. Bristol, Virginia, Greenville, Tennessee, and Johnson City, Tennessee, and Kingsport, Tennessee. So they own WCYB and um, which is a NBC affiliate, and WEMT, which is a Fox affiliate. So the local Fox station and the local NBC station are owned by Sinclair. I don't like watching ABC because it's owned by Disney, so that leaves me with CBS. Because I refuse to watch a Sinclair owned station. But anyway, point is, they're too big. They need to be broken down. We also, I mentioned this earlier, socialism and capitalism do work together. FDR made it work. And America experienced one of its greatest moments because of this. At the end of his presidency and through Truman and through Coolidge, economic growth was huge. Everybody had a real chance at thriving. Wasn't perfect, but Lord knows it was far better than today, where they dropped taxes on the rich and the corporations to stupid levels, where, the capitalism is predatory. Yeah. But if you use it together, it makes sense. I posed this notion when I was taking classes in college, and there were people in that government class that was like, they're opposites. You can't put them together. I'm like, yes, you can. They work wonderfully together. It's been done. FDR did it. Other presidents have used that method. It's only been since, this idea started popping up in the late 70s that socialism and capitalism are completely different. We can't use them together, especially as, it might have started a little later in the 50s, but we were still using the idea of socialism to help people. But it was just, there was such a fear of communism. A Red Scare. It's all about common sense. How best to help all Americans, not just the rich who really don't need the help, or the corporations. They are not the ones who really need the help. It is the working class, the middle class, the poor, the homeless. My God, people, it's common sense. Anyway, I've rattled on here. It's already been 35 minutes, so I guess I'll end it here. I just rambled and rambled. Um, but anyway, as always, educate thyself,
think, read, study, and learn. I'll see you all again in the next video. But until then, later.